Please welcome the Crown Prince of India and the legendary Queen of Pop Music, His Royal Highness Prince Manvendra Singh Gohil of India and Miss Paula Abdul.
The Outspoken Voice Award is given to those pioneers who, without fear, actively push the needle in the direction for positive social change. These leaders take tremendous risks and are at the forefront of the civil and human rights movement. So, Prince, I understand that you previously won this award. And how is the climate right now in your home country?
Well, the LGBT climate is quite cool now. We went forward, now we've gone backward, but it's it's pretty cool, yeah. Yeah. And I'm so thrilled that GMCLA is planning to visit India very soon. Yeah.
Well, we're about to share with you a story of a person who comes from one of the worst places on the planet for LGBT individuals, Syria. My father's part Syrian, and it pains me so much to think that such a beautiful country has been ravaged by the hatred and cruelty. Our honoree tonight faced terrible discrimination in Syria because he was gay. He actually had to flee the country because he was afraid his own father would turn him into ISIS.
Well, he escaped to Turkey, where he worked for an underground gay newspaper, and there he received additional death threats coming from ISIS.
Fortunately, he was connected with the United Nations Refugee Resettlement Program. And after a vigorous review that lasted over a year, he was cleared to move to California, where a sponsor family was waiting to take him in. And he just made history when he addressed the United Nations Security Council at their first ever hearing on LGBT refugees.
Wow. Well, I have to warn you, it's a bit painful, but let's watch to learn about the story of this very brave young man.
I am Subhi Nahas. I am a Syrian gay refugee activist. Before the war, it was not safe for me to walk around. I was really terrified. They may rape me, kill me, do whatever they want, because I look different and I walk different.
Syria was never a nation that accepted its lesbian, gay, bisexual, and trans community.
People are afraid of their safety. They cannot talk openly about it.
The country's laws criminalize homosexual acts.
They started to torture and started to become more aggressive.
Since the revolution turned war, life for Syria's LGBT community has become even more dire.
In the areas where ISIS rules, the retribution is beyond cruel.
IS executed 9 men and a boy it accused of being gay.
IS has beheaded alleged homosexuals.
ISIS militants pushed 2 men off a building and then stoned them to death. Their supposed crime, being gay.
Dozens of people are seen watching the killings, seemingly unfazed.
ISIS is not the first villain that started targeting gay people. Just they are the first to publicize it. They started to arrest people and torture them.
إقامة الخلافة على منهج النبوة وأهم شرط لإقامة الخلافة على منهج النبوة هو الأمر بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر.
And they said they would cleanse the city of all LGBT or gay people. I was so afraid.
The war in Syria has sent millions fleeing for safety.
I did not want to just be another victim. I could not stay there. And I escaped.
Please give a really warm welcome and love him up to Subhi Nahas.
Thank you. Thank you all. And thank you, Paula, and thanks, Your Highness, for this great introduction. And thanks to the Gaming Chorus for the opportunity that they gave me to share my experiences with you. So I would like to begin by sharing with you a story that I recently received from a person who lives in Egypt. He said the following: "It all started when I received the news of a friend being arrested because he was gay. After my friend's release, his parents went completely insane and locked him in his room. I hadn't heard from him for 2 weeks. Then I received an email that seems very much like a suicide letter. I freaked out. At that point, I was devastated, more than devastated. So I made a huge mistake, and I came out to my parents by accident. This made things even worse. My dad decided that I could not travel anywhere until I get the sickness dealt with. Now, I need help. I need a way to get out from here. I'm all out of ideas. I refuse to take the same route my friends did because I know it gets better. I've thought of running away, but where would I go? I really feel trapped. I don't know what would I do if I was sent to a conversion therapy." This is one of many stories that I've received from people who live in the Middle East and North Africa. LGBT people have always suffered in the Middle East under state-sponsored laws which criminalize same-sex relations. While homosexuality is punishable by imprisonment in many parts of Syria, it is punishable by death in other parts of the country. LGBT people are often detained, humiliated, and raped by government forces. On top of that, now the extremist militia are killing them. After the uprising in Syria, Syrian officials started an anti-gay campaign. Later on, the uprising turned into an armed rebellion and a war, during which Islamists and extremists started to take control. These conditions pose a direct threat to Syrian LGBT community because they are an easy target. Syrian extremist groups have declared that LGBT people are the cause of the current war and should be cleansed, killed, in order to win. According to the UNHCR, LGBT people are one of the most vulnerable groups in the refugee world. Many examples of verbal and physical violence and persecution have been recorded even in countries of transit and asylum. Many LGBT people report that they are unable to find a job and that they are being used by employers who don't pay them. Many report physical violence in places where they work once their sexuality is disclosed. A friend of mine explained to me that his employer handcuffed him to a table for 4 days and kept on beating him until he yielded to their wishes and told them that he was not gay anymore. LGBT people report that they are fearful to venture out in the public, even in countries like Turkey, where there are no laws against them. As you can see, the situation and conditions on the other side of the world make life very difficult for LGBT individuals. Before coming to a safer country like the United States, LGBT people from the Middle East and North Africa face harsh conditions, and they need all the support they can get to overcome these obstacles. If you're interested in helping refugees in these situations, there are a few things that you can do to help. One, you can donate to an organization which supports LGBT refugees in some way. Two, be a friend of a refugee. Help someone to acclimate to this country, or perhaps help them to learn the language. Three, if you have the means, you can volunteer to be a host to a newly arrived refugee. So I would like to thank you for allowing me to share these stories with you. And there are many LGBT individuals that can use your help. I commend the Gay Men's Chorus of Los Angeles for what they are doing in the areas of education and outreach. And I know that together, we all can make a difference in this world. So thank you all. Thank you very much for this.